topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my show, Debi Changes Lives. I am Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom natural holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have been able to release 70 pounds, had a health transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. And it's actually been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51, when I never ran from childhood to adulthood due to foot problems. And I've done 8 of them. Mindset is the key to lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide people to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing health, releasing weight efficiently when needed, and enhancing your mindset. With my clients, I help them recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions drive their actions and results, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And that's why it's really crucial to have a positive mindset in life. It's also imperative to manage your emotions and release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because all they're going to do is slow you down and get you stuck physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has ballasts, I help my clients relieve those emotional ballasts and baggage so they can uplift to a better, healthier life. In turn, they are releasing their stress and reshaping their core beliefs. You'll see and feel the differences with my coaching programs. Ask me about them. Set up a complimentary consultation at my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in victory, ES.com/linktree, LINKTREE. And I will guide you to that better, healthier life with custom natural solutions for mind, body, and soul. We're certainly living in uncertain times. People are losing their jobs, there's stress, and there's also unrest throughout the world. That's why it's imperative to navigate this world with a positive mindset so you can get through those stressful times. And remember, you can't control what's going around you. You can only control how you respond to it. And I have a new workshop. It's called Empower Your Mind and Life. It's on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And you can get more details at this site, which is at bit.ly/empower your mind and life, spelled as one word with no spaces, and register for it. Today, I am thrilled to have Lynda Bergh Herring, a California licensed private investigator. Lynda was supposed to be a ballerina, but some unexpected plot twist led her to become a private investigator. And it was one case 43 years ago that ignited her passion to want to protect children. And recently, she became a best-selling #1 author of a book, which is Your Itty Bitty, you can put the slide up for the book, Your Itty Bitty Amazing Book, I didn't quite say that right, Keep Your Children Safe. You can get it on Amazon. Now, Lynda and I aim to prevent anxiety, sleeplessness, and eating disorders that can be caused by grooming, exploitation, and sex tortation. spit that out. And we also want parents to avoid the anxiety from these crimes. Lynda provides the knowledge and to parents and children to stay safe. Lynda's expertise spans asset searches, elder abuse, cyber crimes, including AI, cellular forensics, and fighting children trafficking. She's rescued hundreds of children and now educates others on identifying and avoiding predators both online and in the real world. Today, we'll be discussing child safety and real and virtual threats. Let's welcome Lynda Bergh Herring, a licensed California private investigator, back to the show. Lynda, welcome back.
Hi, it's good to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome to come back. This is so important to be discussing this today, especially today, in these times. What ignited your passion to work as a child advocate?
Well, like you said, 43 years ago, when I first started working as a private investigator, my employer focused mostly on workers' comp defense cases. So, fraudulent work-related injuries. Every now and then she got a different type of case. And just a couple weeks after she hired me, she got a case regarding an uncle who had kidnapped his niece. The little girl was 10 years old. The uncle was a, trusted family member, so someone that everyone knew. And so she was allowed to go out and spend time with him without hesitation. No one suspected anything. Well, one day she didn't come home. So when they couldn't find her anywhere, they contacted our company at the time, and we were hired to try to track her down. Well, it took us about a week and a half to find her, which, if you think about it, is an eternity for the parents and this little girl.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And what happened during that time period was during the first 72 hours, her uncle pretty brutally raped her multiple times. And then he sold her to his friends for sex. So he trafficked her. They didn't call it trafficking then. That term didn't exist yet, but that's exactly what happened. And that case just did it for me. I was like, okay, anything having to do with kids, I'm in. This is just wrong. This cannot be happening.
That is sick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot of sick people out there. There's a lot of sick people out there.
For someone to do that. I mean, that's especially when they're a family member.
Mm-hmm. So the guy is still in prison, which is good. And the girl, who was 10 years old at the time, I'm still friends with her. So we have stayed in touch for 43 years so far. She's a wonderful woman who, got the care and treatment she needed after this tragedy. And she's a wonderful human being living a great life. So there's a happy ending, at least.
Yeah, there was a happy ending for her. I am so happy to hear that. Now, is every child risk at being exploited or trafficked?
Absolutely, every child. And the reason I say that is because every child basically is online. And that is the most dangerous place for a child to be. A lot of people talk about that white panel van, out on the street that someone's going to grab you and take you away.
That was when I was growing up.
Right. Well, the internet didn't exist when we were growing up. So right. So, but now the internet is the most dangerous place to be. And a lot of that's because kids don't know how to stay safe. And oftentimes the parents don't know how to tell them to stay safe.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, they're so innocent and they don't really realize what's going on. And kids are more trusting than adults.
They
are. A lot of experience, right?
Yeah, they are. And I have a friend, someone I've known for years, who every now and then she's like, okay, I'm checking my kids' phones and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm studying this stuff and making sure I'm up to date. And she bought my book. And the week after she got my book, she went, oh my gosh, I so thought I knew what I was doing. I didn't know 90% of what was in that book.
Wow.
So even the people that think they know what's going on don't realize the extent of it. And, I'm not blaming anybody for that. It's just a matter of we need to get the word out and people need to know what to look for and how to look for it and how to talk to their kids, and kids need to know how to talk to their parents.
Yeah. And that book is great to, for them to look at and, I possibly share with the kids in a nice way.
Yeah. And it's short. And I did the itty bitty format on purpose because a lot of people are afraid of the topic and they're not going to read a 200-page book.
True.
So I thought, okay, they get it in little snippets. It's not quite as difficult and overwhelming. And, someday I'm going to do what I keep calling a big girl book, a longer book that'll have stories and things in it, true case things. But right now it's a good starting point, and there's a lot of significant little tips in there. So
yeah, and I think when it went on sale, I purchased it as an ebook.
Thank
and
you.
the digital version of it. That's what I mean by ebook.
Yes.
Anyways, so they can always get your book on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay. So
or if they see me in public, they can get it from me directly. Yeah, I never leave home without it.
And you can get it signed.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what are the major risk factors to pay attention to that's going on these days?
Number one, like I said, is the internet. So if you give first of all, a young child should not even have a smartphone. So many have them, and they have them so young, like 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds are showing each other, pornography on their phones on the playground at school, which should never happen. A child that age shouldn't even know how to look that up, let alone have it on their phone, be able to find it and share it. And also, the majority of kids sleep with their phone right next to them. Mm-hmm. So that should not happen. Devices should not be in their room with them. Because, if they wake up at 3 a.m. and they can't sleep, what do? They grab their phone. Mm-hmm. Well, their friends are probably not awake, but there's a whole lot of predators out there that are. They say that there's at least 500,000 predators online at any given moment, 24 hours a day. And they're just waiting for a child to pop into a chat room or in a gaming app or something. And it takes 8 minutes for them to gain the trust of a child.
And truly the truth, having a cell phone next to you at the middle of the night because of 5G and everything, it's going to make it harder for that child to sleep. Mm-hmm. And it's important just to, just so you can have the phone in the morning. Yeah. And you're charging it downstairs and, or wherever you decide to charge it.
Right.
But the whole point is that they shouldn't be glued to that phone because there's so much social media out there, no matter what the age the child is, mm-hmm. but they keep on. It's a source of comparing yourself to others, and it creates a lot of depression and anxiety, even up to the 20s. I'm sorry, it's a really.
Hey, I get it.
It's a social interrupt, and it's also interrupting their life. Mm-hmm. Jeepers, all I had was television when I was growing up.
Me too. Yeah, we found other ways to entertain ourselves. It's the internet didn't exist.
It started off with black and white TV for me.
Me too.
And so my whole point is, it's like, and there was one television per household at the time. Well, we eventually got a second one, but my whole point is that we were only allowed to watch TV for a certain numbers of days, and TV is another one that you need to do electronic detox for, because they'll just get stuck watching that mindless chatter on the TV.
Right, exactly. And they do, and they almost have withdrawals when you take it away.
Yeah.
So if you cut off giving it to them, that's the best. It's hard to do.
It really is, because
children, they'd hate me.
No, I don't blame you. There weren't cell phones. I mean, there were cell phones when my son was growing up, but my whole point was it started with those iPods, with the game, things like that. And I'm sure they can actually get kids from that anyways if they're playing games, right?
They can. Every gaming app has a chat feature, and the predators hang out there, and that's where a lot of interaction begins, is in the chats on gaming apps. And a lot of people think, oh, it's not the internet, it's just Roblox. It's like, Roblox is a nightmare to me. Roblox allows little kids to be members, and they're they're playing games with people that are their same age, but up to, 60 years old. You don't know. It's a bunch of strangers that just invite each other to play these games. And there's little fun, innocent games on there. And then there's a whole lot of stuff that's not remotely innocent. And then a lot of times the kids get coerced, manipulated into leaving that game and then going to a chat and, a more private location, which is very dangerous.
Yes.
That's there's nothing good's going to happen in that second location. It's like being kidnapped on the street. You don't want the person to ever take you to a second location. Online is the same thing.
Now, this may date my son. Is there we still out there?
Is there who still out there?
We. W-I-I. It's where you can play tennis.
I'm not sure. I know. I think it might be, but there's always new stuff out there. So I was never really into any of those things. Even I've been on a computer, like since, computers it was feasible to have one. And when I was in law enforcement, of course, I worked on computers, but I didn't do the fun stuff. It was always the work stuff. I think we had a Pong game when we were kids.
Oh yeah, Super Pong.
Yeah. We were so excited. A little white dot on the black screen.
Ding.
It's like, wow, this is really exciting.
And then there was pinball machines, or there was Pac-Man and Pac-Man.
Right. But even that, we didn't have that at home, and we didn't go to arcades either. So we didn't. My brothers and I had just other things to do. I think our parents were pretty brilliant. They kept us so busy, we didn't have time to get in trouble.
Yeah. Well,
and my dad used to say that.
I kept busy too. I know one thing I want to ask. Arcade games don't have those messaging in them, do they? Do they have some weird things going on in arcade games?
No, arcade games, no, they don't, because they're old school. A lot of them don't have any internet access. Okay. So that part's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many places really have arcade games anymore.
There's not a lot. Although there's a new one at the Mission Viejo Mall, a new arcade. I haven't been there yet, but they say there's old school arcade games there.
Okay. So what can parents do to protect their children from predators, both physically and mentally?
Okay. So the number one most important thing is to teach your kids that they can talk to you about anything. It does not matter if it's embarrassing, if it's mean, if it's nasty, if it's disgusting, if it's terrifying, or if it's just plain funny. They've got to be able to talk to you because kids are committing suicide after they've been sextorted. And the kids do that because they don't know what to do. They need to know there's someone out there to help them. And if they don't have a parent, it can be just another trusted adult. I often tell this story. When I was 9 years old, one of the little girls at my dance studio was being molested by her father. And I went home and told my mom. And this was in, the 60s. You didn't talk that way. So my mom, instead of being like, oh my gosh, we need to find out what's happening, we need to help her, my mom slapped me for talking like that. So I never, ever went to my mother with anything serious after that. Luckily, I had my dad, I had my dance teacher, I had other trusted people around me. A lot of these kids don't. And so they need to know if they make a mistake, like get coerced or manipulated into sending an inappropriate photo to somebody, it's not the end of the world. There's people that can help them. So that's number one. Communication is number one.
Yes.
And then probably the second thing would be monitoring. Parents need to monitor their kids' social media or any electronics use. And a lot of them don't. They just hand them the phone. Million Kids has been doing a series of little memes the past few weeks, and they start out, would you send your kid out to play on the freeway without telling them to watch out for the cars? It's kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Or send them to be babysat by a total stranger. Same thing.
Yes.
They wouldn't do that.
Yes.
So the phones are very dangerous, and the parents need to know that, and they need to tell the kids, what to look out for. There are signs when a predator contacts you, and they apply both to kids and adults. So sometimes I do presentations on elder abuse, and a lot of the interaction stuff is the same. If it's a little kid or if it's someone elderly, the only real difference or consistent difference is for kids, they ask, how old are you? Obviously for the elderly, they don't. But the other questions are pretty much the same that they ask. And it's, they really like people that are lonely, that want to have a desire to be liked, included, loved, that kind of thing, which is everyone, no matter what age you are, especially teenagers and especially the elderly, because often they're alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, so those are probably the easiest ways. And then, in my book, not that I have to refer to my book 9,000 times today, but in my book, there is a list of signs to look for. And like the first question is, how old are you? And then the most dangerous question is, would you like to meet me in a chat somewhere else that's more private?
Right.
Because like I said, that's being kidnapped on the street.
Right.
Nothing good is going to come from that. And kids need to know. I don't know how it got so normal to send nude photos, but kids these days think nothing of it. So they need to know that someone that asks for that from you is not your friend.
True. What are they going to be using that for, right?
Yeah. And once it's sent, you can't get it back. And you don't have any control over what the person you sent it to does with it. There are ways to block it from being shared. There's a new platform called Take It Down that the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children developed. And it does stop it from being shared further, but you can't get it back. So once it's out there, it's out there. Mm-hmm. And they need to know that. And, kids don't, they're not thinking. So they
don't normal. They're very embarrassed about it later on. Or it's happening too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to do anything with it, but that's not true.
Yeah. And oftentimes in sextortion, I mean, that's what sextortion is. Usually most of the victims of sextortion have been teenage boys. They're not the kids that people assume might get in trouble. They're the ones that are the really good students. They're athletes. They're good looking. They have a ton of friends. Almost all of them go to church or some, faith-based thing. So they're really, really good kids, for lack of a better way of describing it. And they're the ones that are being targeted. And so when, a teenage boy gets hit on by a beautiful teenage girl, and she's all flirty and, and says, hey, show me mine or show me yours and I'll show you mine. Oftentimes the alleged teenage girl sends a photo first and says, this is me. Now send me a picture of you. But you have to also show your face. So I want to see all of you. And they do that so they can prove who it was. And then instantly they demand money. And these kids do not know what to do.
You know what? They really... I'm sorry. I mean, even though that white van, I'm sorry, they really need to interface in person.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But they also need to know not to ever go out and meet someone they met online.
True.
So it's got to be someone that for sure is a real person, because a lot of these perpetrators are from out of the country. There are some local ones. And then another level to all of that that's really terrifying is AI. Yeah. So I know you're going to ask me. I just kind of veered
in. Not to get there, but that's okay.
Generative AI, meaning that someone created something, is being used to put, a child's head on a naked body. So like there was something in the news a year and a half ago about a school in Beverly Hills where a bunch of 8th graders, all of a sudden, all these pictures were being passed around. It looked like it was them naked.
Yes.
And of course they freaked out. And how do you prove it's not you? That's the only thing you can do is take your clothes off, which nobody, you're not going to make them do that.
Not going to do that, right?
Right. So, and it was some 6th graders that just thought it was funny to play around with this app. They thought they did it as a joke. And at that time, there was no law that made that illegal. It is now. But at the time when the police went out there, they're like, we can't really do anything legally. The kids did all get expelled from school, but that, damaged the victims. Getting past that is huge. And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children just recently put out a cyber tip line report on their activity during 2024. It just came out a week and a half ago. And it has in there that there was a 1,325% increase in reports involving generative AI. So that's AI that appears to be child sex abuse material, or CSAM as they're calling it. So that's insane. They had 4,700 reports in 2023 and 67,000 in 2024.
And that's due to that app?
There's all kinds of artificial intelligence. There's a ton of them out there. But people are using artificial intelligence and they're doing it to adults too, but they're creating things and going, look, I have this picture of you. What are you going to do about it? If you don't send me a bunch of money, I'm going to send it to everybody you know. I'm going to post it publicly online. And sometimes they do, which is, can ruin people. So, and then there's also chat bots. So another part of AI. There's chat bots that are talking to kids like they're their friend and convincing them.
It's verbally like spoken or verbally?
No, they can mimic voices. So sometimes it is verbally. There have been some where they've actually done video chats where the child thinks they're talking to a real person, but they're not.
So it's video, so it's image and?
Yeah. And these chatbots, there's been some transcripts of conversations that we've seen where the chatbot's like, I'm so sorry your parents are so awful. They obviously don't really love you, but I do. And, maybe you'd be better off without your parents. And then they actually have encouraged kids to try to kill their parents.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
Yeah. And it's happened a lot, or, many times. And one time is way too many, but
yeah.
But yeah, they just, and those, they find a kid that's lonely and, wants a friend. And so I'm not a big fan of AI, as you might have guessed. So it's got its place. There are times, but when it comes to this stuff I'm doing, it's not good.
It's a dark side. And I think I heard a story that, one of these encounters, actually the child ended up killing themselves.
Yeah. It happens. There's been 51 documented suicides as a result of sextortion. Some of it was done by an actual person, some by a bot or, an AI generated something. And there's probably way more than that were not reported. Because oftentimes law enforcement, which I adore and respect, has not been totally up to date on training with some of this stuff. So when a child suddenly commits suicide, on many of these cases, they're like, okay, your kid was depressed and he committed suicide. And it's heartbreaking and we're very sad, but that's what it was. And then the parents managed to dig into the child's phone or their computer or whatever, or they hear from another friend that something similar was happening. And then they discover the sextortion. And some of the families don't want to report it because they're embarrassed. It's like, yeah. It's too late. Okay, your child, sadly, is deceased. You can't embarrass your child anymore.
Right.
So, step up and do the right thing and report it so that people know. Because so many people just don't believe this is going on. And it's a challenge to convince them these things are happening. So when I do my workshops, I talk about them. I was on a workshop or a training the middle of last year where there were parents of 5 different victims of sextortion that were on a panel. And it was one of the most heartbreaking things that I've ever seen. They were telling the stories of what happened with their kids and how they had to fight to get law enforcement, either local police or FBI or Department of Homeland Security or whoever, to believe that it was something this bad and nefarious as opposed to just a suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can anyone really see that what's going on before they get involved?
There are kind of symptoms that a child might exhibit when they're being groomed or exploited. There have been a couple sextortion cases documented that went on for a whole year where the child, I can't even imagine, the child every single day was sending something to their perpetrator. But usually the most obvious ones probably are cutting is very common in sextortion because they're trying to have control over something, which is, they might all of a sudden spend a lot more time alone in their room or on their devices. They might get nervous when their phone dings and says they have a message, like they're scared or startled because they think, oh no, that's my sextorter contacting me. They might have trouble sleeping, their grades might drop because they're having trouble sleeping. They can't focus. They might start, cutting classes or ditching school. So there's definite changes in their personality, and they definitely don't want you to look at their phone or their tablet or any electronic device. So but some of these sextortion things though happen within a matter of minutes in the middle of the night while mom and dad are asleep. So that's where phones, electronic devices should not be in their rooms. And the kids need to know, hey, if you did something dumb, made a bad decision, whatever, it's not the end of the world. But there was one day the founder of Million Kids was speaking at a church in Riverside County, and I went with her. And afterwards, they did a Q&A session. And a mom went up to the microphone and she said, my son was a victim of sextortion. She goes, but we nipped that right in the bud. I mean, this lady was great, but she said that her son came running out to her and said, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm such an idiot. I was talking to this girl. She wanted me to send a photo. I sent a photo, a naked photo. Like she goes, he was so, and then she instantly wanted money. I don't know what to do. She says she's going to send it to all my friends and to the church and, to my school. And mom's response was, you shower at school, right?
Oh, no. I think I know where you're going with this one.
Everyone's seen it already. Don't worry about it. Or like everyone has. Whatever she said was great because it like calmed him down. She goes, he actually laughed. And then they did what they needed to do. They took screenshots of the interaction and did, contacted law enforcement, the things they needed to do. But she was able to instantly diffuse the situation and wouldn't have had that chance if her son didn't trust her enough to go tell her what happened.
Yes.
So it's a great example because a lot of parents would, yell and scream, you idiot, how could you, No, that's why kids don't want to tell.
Yes.
So it was like the perfect thing. She's like, so what?
I love it. Did you take a shower?
Right? Like you shower at school. Your classmates have already seen you. Don't worry about she was, and the way she told it was great.
Yeah.
But that's true. So if they, because when they're vulnerable, kids' brains have not fully developed, especially the boys. They're a little bit behind the girls. So they're thinking with their hormones instead of their brain anyway, when something like that's going on. So it was the perfect handling of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how does being exploited affect the individual's health and well-being? I really know, but why don't you say it?
Well, there's so many things. Like I said, they can become bulimic. They can start cutting. Some of them commit suicide. Yeah. The average lifespan, I was told, of a child who's been trafficked is 5 to 7 years, whether they've been rescued or not, which is terrifying. I looked into that because I did a presentation a few years ago and someone said, how long do they live after they've been trafficked? And I'm like, I have no idea. So I researched it and they said 5 to 7 years. But that's because I think that's getting better, for lack of a better word, because there are more services out there available to assist. Mm-hmm. Whereas to start with, there was nothing. Oftentimes the victims got arrested right along with their perpetrators.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you've rescued hundreds of children.
Well, not specifically rescued by myself, but I've been involved in one way or another. I have been on rescues, but involved. I do a lot of stuff online and in the background too. So it's not like I'm out there in my cape chasing down.
No, I know.
Only sometimes.
That's dangerous, wouldn't it?
Well, it can be. And I've been in some pretty hairy situations, but yeah, I have been involved in one way or another, including in person, in the rescues of hundreds of kids over the years. Because I've been doing this for 43 years too. So it's.
Now, if you have a client that is in this problem situation, it's probably a better way to say it. How do you handle it?
It depends on how it started. And that's because I do always recommend that they contact law enforcement, their local law enforcement. If local law enforcement doesn't have like a human trafficking division or a cyber crimes division, then I refer them to Homeland Security because that's who ultimately investigates that. I also, if the child perhaps says, run away, I hope and pray the child left behind their phone, because that is the most valuable piece of evidence for me. And that's because I have the technology that I can copy every single thing off that phone and figure out who they're talking to and where they might have gone and that kind of thing. It's invaluable information. If the kid did not leave the phone behind, then I, ask the parents for access to the family computer if they have a family computer, whatever, any electronic thing, a gaming system. This technology I have, you can pull things off anything, the information off anything. So that's helpful. I always suggest to parents that they somehow have their child's passwords. And it's a little controversial. And I know kids can change their passwords, but I, remind the parents that until the child is 18 years old, they really have they can't sign a contract. So the phone or device they're using really belongs to their parents. Mm-hmm. And the right to privacy is, a little blurry. If it's for their safety, they have no right to privacy, in my opinion. And most of my adult clients agree with me. So thank goodness for that. But if, they need to have a list of passwords, because some of them you just can't get into. Mm-hmm. And so I tell them, have them write the passwords down on a piece of paper, put it in a sealed envelope somewhere safe, like where you keep important documents or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that way, in an emergency, it's so much easier to get into their devices. I do have the ability to hack, but it takes hours. Law enforcement, if they want to get into a device that's locked, they have to get search warrants, and that can take days sometimes. True. So it's just something, if your child is missing and possibly in danger, time is of the essence. And so that's why we want that.
I think phones are trackable too, to a certain point, but the phones can be dumped is a problem.
Right. Well, that's why I hope they leave the phone at home, because there's a treasure trove of information on that phone. And a lot of kids do that. When a predator convinces them to leave, they often say, leave your phone home, because they're thinking, we don't want someone to track your phone.
Yeah, I see.
And to me, I'm like, please let the phone be home. Yeah, because it'll help.
Okay, and what is your offer for my audience today? This has gone fast.
It has gone fast. So my offer is my list of top 10 ways to protect your child. It's just exactly what it sounds like. So it's my, just off the cuff, my top 10 list. It's changed a couple times over the years, but it's pretty consistent no matter what. So that's my offer. And the website where you can get it is here on the screen. But it's HTTPS, the usual, bit.ly/top10, and that's 10 ways to keep children safe. And anybody can access that.
Good. That's a wonderful offer. And I will have you back in the fall, right?
Yes.
You're going to do this.
Yes, I am.
So please stick around for closing remarks. I think we may have plenty of time.
Okay.
All right. So remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I help you with your gut as well with your mindset, and also have brain support products to help you there as well, and immunity, and anything that has to do with health. I guide you to clean, toxic-free food and high quality nutrient products that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and release weight if it's needed, and that will all uplift your mood. With my mindset coaching, I help you release your stress. Oops. And as well as that's okay, release your stress, and she kind of cut me off guard there. Sorry. Release your stress and entanglements from emotions and the past, and your mindset be more enhanced. When my health and weight release, your body's more efficient. So that's the mind-body solution that makes your soul sing. So reach out to me by setting up a complimentary consultation to ask me about my programs at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in Victory ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And there is where you get to know me, I get to know you, and I guide you to optimal health. And it starts with 1 or 2 assessments. The first one is actually a health evaluation where you rate your symptoms in the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions repeat. And so answer them all. And it will give you a baseline score that you will improve upon. I will review it with you. When you move forward with my service, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy for you, and we'll monitor this on a monthly basis. Now, I have 2 different body Zyto scans, and I prefer to do Zyto's VisiraLink because I can do it remotely, internationally, and I went to South Africa. VisiraLink is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. I love the emotional one because it's a hidden gem. It creates a wellness report of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. I do review it with you. And it's quite intensive So this scan is $75. And when you move forward with a program or product, I give you a $25 discount. If you want save on these scans, you can buy a family pack of 5 and save $50. Now, the ZeroLink is a transdermal optical imaging app, also known as TOI. You look up its accuracy on pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, to find out more about it. And when people do the scan, they're really amazed what their body will tell them. Curious? Get your first scan done and see what they're talking about. And you do that on the consultation button. On that same site is where you're going to see my programs. And my programs are you can go to the next slide. It's a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program. We utilize a new version of you to drive you to success and just take your body back. And all the coaching is done on Zoom. And the first one is private to you because I go over your health assessments. I also give you a choice between 2 meal plans as well as directions on it. And also I give you directions on how to create the new version of you, which is what's going to drive you to success. They'll drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey. The rest of the coaching, whether it's private or group, is the same. We'll be celebrating your wins. You can be using your boards to drive you forward for your success. And I'll be answering your questions and getting you over gaps with health and mindset tips. You'll become a new you. You can ask me more questions on my complimentary consultation, as well as watch a previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, for more information. Just remember the prices have gone up. YFAST is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming, and in turn, boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients, and a program for exercise and some recipes. You can ask me questions about it here, the consultation. And if you feel like you need some coaching, there's a 2 or 4 week program to get you started. If you feel like you need more coaching than that, you can pay for more coaching as you go and as you wish. Also, just remember that intermittent fasting repairs your cells, reduces inflammation, and gives you mental clarity. With mindset enhancement as well as health optimization, those are longer term journeys, and the bigger program probably more economical, but I can create a custom program just for you to help you out. Now, for a limited time, I'm offering Debi's coaching chats, which is a complimentary 30-minute coaching session in a group setting. It's not recorded. A survey picks a topic. You'll learn how to optimize your health, ways to release stress and emotions, efficiently release weight, create a winning mindset for health and weight transformations, and as well as creating a new version of you and an avatar board that's going to drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey. This meeting is on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You need to be registered for it, and that is at Debi Changes Lives. That's DebiChangesLives, as in Victory, ES.com/chats, CHTS. That's where you can learn what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn more about alternative health. Services, products, programs, offers, articles, blogs, and upcoming shows, events, and promos by going to DebiChangesLives.com. At this time, /radio TV show and lowercase is one word. And I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can record your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, emotions, food, water, exercise, supplements you've taken on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. Then you want to review your journal on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them. Find your gaps to work on. And if you need help bridging that gap, you contact me for coaching. Now, I'm certain that you found this show educational, eye-opening, and informative. It's really important for people to know what to do, okay? Reach out to me for my services, products, programs, and offers, and reach out to Lynda Bergh Herring, licensed California Private Investigator, for her services, offer, and purchase her book. So do we have time for Lynda to come back? It seems like we have plenty of time to chat it up. So Lynda, what do you have for closing remarks?
Wow. Well, like you just said, if you need more information about, how to keep your kids safe, that's number one, of course, reach out to me. I am all over social media. I'm easy to find. You search my name, You will find me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere else. I'm always happy to respond to anybody. I also have a website, which is www.ljbinvestigations.com. In addition to the children's safety things, I do investigate pretty much anything you can think of. So asset searches, elder abuse, which is huge, cyber crimes.
Yeah, elder abuse is just as bad.
It is. It really is. People are losing lots of money, and it's terrible.
And sometimes it's the families are causing this, and
most of the time, which I hate to say, but most of my cases I've worked, it's been a family member.
Yes.
And in the other cases, it's a caregiver. So, which is awful. So, if you're thinking about hiring a caregiver for your elderly relative, call me. And then I'm also available for workshops online or in person. I will go just about anywhere to speak, and I can do that anywhere. I can only physically investigate in California, but I can speak anywhere. And so I'm available for that. Small groups, big groups, wherever. I will do whatever to help keep our kids safe.
Do you have any events coming up soon?
I'm speaking at what do I have coming up? I have a couple. A few times a year, I speak for Oak Grove Schools, which is a private school in Riverside County. I've been trying to break into Orange County. And there, it's interesting. I speak to caregivers of kids in the foster program.
Okay.
And so it's an interesting group, and you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes there's 40 people there. Sometimes there's 2. So it just depends. And then I'm speaking for a women's club in a couple weeks. So it just depends. It's nothing that's public right now. So I'll have to make sure I post those things on social media when I am doing something public.
Would it be possible to be on your website or not?
It will be. My website's being revamped and updated. So it will be in the future.
A little bit easier.
Right.
And this fall, we're going to be talking about being safe during Halloween. Right?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah. So that's something you guys need to check out. Every parent knows generally how to be safe, but Lynda's going to give us an expert opinion on what you should do these days. So
got to keep them safe, whatever it takes.
Yes. So thank you for being on my show. And I think there's an event coming up in June with another organization. I don't know if you're doing that one.
I'm going to be there. Are you talking about the health and wellness one?
No, I'm talking about the sex trafficking one, the sex exploitation one of kids. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's an event in Orange County coming up in June. That's a 5K. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And
that involves like running or walking. I'm kidding. I have to leave my office for that.
But anyways, there's places where people can get information.
Yes, there are.
And you always contact Lynda for information too.
Absolutely.
So hard topic to talk about, but I'm glad I have it on my show as a public service announcement. So thank you, Lynda. So continue to join my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.